Joining us now, Jonathan Easley. Great guy. He's got a great story today on the Hill. I got to tell you, Jonathan is straight up. I follow him every day, and I've told you this before, my listeners, when I prepare for my show, the only really thing that I read in D.C. is the Hill, because it's accurate, it's fair, it's honest, it's in depth. You can trust everything that's in there. They're great people. And one of my favorite reporters is joining us now, and he broke this story on Kelly Sadler. Jonathan Easley, great to have you with us, Jonathan.
Hey, thanks for those kind words, John. Appreciate it.
You do a fabulous job, and whenever I've read anything, I want to tell our audience this, whenever I've read anything that I know for a fact maybe they didn't get all their facts straight, I'll call Jonathan. I mean, they straighten it out in 5 minutes, so you really have to respect that. Now, Jonathan, look, here's the deal. So you got two issues here with Kelly Sadler. One is that she's got a lot of people that love her to death, as you know. She is a senior communications aide in the White House. She's very pro-Trump. She's pro-America First agenda, true believer like I am. She handles the surrogates, and she invokes unbelievable loyalty amongst a lot of people. I'm included. So let me start with the disclaimer that I love her to death, and I love working with her, and she's a woman of great grace and class and high intelligence. And so I'm a big fan of hers and would have a heart attack if she were to leave, because she provides us with so much insight and information. Now, having said that, that's my disclaimer, so I'm biased. Tell us what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate incident, and like you said, it follows some previous White House stories where a lot of these people that join the White House, that there seems to be little cliques, little clans, people not hesitant to leak against other people, and that's basically what we have here. There was a communication staff meeting on Thursday morning. Obviously, a big focus of the communication staff right now is pushing through Gina Haspel's nomination. There's a big public relations push on to take care of that. It looks like it could go either way, really. We've got Republicans have 51 seats in the Senate. They need 50 votes to get Haspel through. McCain and Rand Paul say they're going to vote no. Manchin says he'll vote yes. It could go either way. And as part of a strategic discussion on that issue, the issue of McCain's opposition came up. Obviously, he's recovering at home in Phoenix from a brain cancer diagnosis. And what we heard was that as part of that conversation, Kelly Sadler said, it doesn't matter anyway, he's dying. And, you know, it's one of these things, we all say things we regret at some point. It was characterized to us as sort of a flippant remark that was that did not go over well. But it was said nonetheless, and then the group just kind of moved on. And so we had two sources in the room tell us that, and we reported it, and you've sort of seen it's kind of taken on a life of its own. Obviously, McCain elicits a lot of passion here in Washington, D.C. He has a lot of people who really admire him. Obviously, the torture issue is a sensitive one. He was tortured and sustained permanent disabilities from his time in Vietnam. And then obviously it was just sort of an insensitive remark about a man who might not be with us much longer. We don't know. Hopefully he's recovering at home. But anyway, we heard that Kelly followed up with a phone call to Meghan McCain to apologize, but sort of just one of those things, especially with social media the way it is right now, the cat's kind of out of the bag, and obviously she's facing the brunt of it right now.
So, look, so that our audience knows, when you get a leak like this, as a reporter like Jonathan, you can't give, if it's accurate and you have the source, you can't say, well, I'm not going to do that because it's not fair. I mean, you have to report it. So, I mean, you absolutely did the right thing. And that's why we respect the Hill and we respect your reporting.
We took our time. I mean, I first heard about this like shortly after the meeting in the morning. Our story didn't go up until 5:30 in the afternoon, and we were making sure that we had it right, and you know, I think we got it because a lot of outlets confirmed our story after it came out. So it's not just something we heard a rumor and put it up there. We made sure we had a couple sources in the room that confirmed what was said.
So, according to your very in-depth article and meticulous nature with which you did this, because obviously, it could affect someone's career going forward. And I appreciate that, Jonathan, and the care that you took. So, apparently, according to your reporting, there were 12 people in the room. This was a closed-door communications meeting. So, this was not like it was a surrogate meeting or there was a bunch of people floating around. I mean, it was a closed-door meeting, like you have staff meetings, right? Many people listening to me right now at 9:30, they're going to have a staff meeting, and they go in and they shut the door, and they talk about their agenda for the day, week, weekend, month, whatever, staff meeting, and there were 12 people there. You also reported that Sarah Huckabee Sanders was not there, and you also reported that Kellyanne Conway came in after the comment was made, so she didn't hear the comment directly. And obviously the leak didn't come from Kellyanne herself, from Kelly Sadler. So basically that leaves 11 people. So what I'm trying to get here, and not asking you obviously to reveal anything, but just to frame this. So one of 11 people in that meeting, as soon as the meeting was over, off the cuff statement, she made it, she owns it, off the cuff or not, Kelly made the statement, crass, dumb, not smart. She made it. Maybe it was a joke, bad joke, all right? Shouldn't have happened. But she made it, and then someone called you up right after the meeting was over and informed you about the statement, right? I mean, that's how this went down.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, that's basically it. And I mean, we've seen a lot of this kind of leaking from the White House, from the bottom up, really. I mean, it was interesting. Right around the time that our report hit, there was obviously the New York Times report about Department of Homeland Security Director Kirstjen Nielsen getting berated in a cabinet meeting by Trump and considering resigning over that. I mean, that came from someone in the room too that wanted to get that story out. So, this White House has been really besieged by these palace intrigue stories and these leaks, and it has an impact. I mean, it's got an impact, obviously, on the people who are mentioned in the story. I think, Kelly Sadler is still at the White House. We haven't seen, have any reason to believe that she's leaving at this point. But, it also roils some of the policy debates, too. I mean, I don't want to overplay it, but, I mean, you've got these senators on Capitol Hill that are voting on Haspel. Some of them don't know which way to go, and some of them might be angry at what they view as sort of a White House callousness toward McCain right now. So, this is sort of something the White House has been dealing with basically from the start.
And it's a real issue. And, you look at the Sadler situation, and as you rightly juxtapose that, Jonathan Easley, by the way, we're with Jonathan Easley, senior reporter with the newspaper The Hill. You can read Jonathan every day online if you're not in D.C. If you're in D.C., you can just pick one up at a newsstand, or you can go online, thehill.com, and you can download their app. And, when you have your apps on your phone and you got the apps that you never use, like they're way, like got to scroll like 5 screens over. See, I've got the Hill is on the bottom of my iPhone. That's right. It's right there in the bottom so I can click it constantly. So they do a good job. But download the app right after you download my app at johnfredericksradio.com.
Yeah.
Download my app, then download the Hill's app. Then you're good to go. You got it all. Now, Jonathan, so juxtaposing the Kirstjen Nielsen story, where in a cabinet meeting she gets chewed out by the president because he's unhappy with her performance on the border. I didn't find that shocking because that's like kind of a big deal. It's a cabinet meeting and somebody doesn't like the president, so they leak it out and put him in a bad light. So I kind of got that. But what bothered me about this leak really is that this is a staffer, right? This isn't a cabinet member that got confirmed by the U.S. Senate. I mean, this is a staff person. And she made an unfortunate off-the-cuff comment that I'm sure she wished she could take back. But sometimes you say things in a closed meeting, you make a flippant, off-the-cuff, dumb comment, and then one of her own leaks it out to you, obviously, as soon as the meeting was over. And so when you really frame this, and what is going on in there, Jonathan, I'll give you some insight I've got, is that you've still got a bunch of never-Trumpers, RNC type operatives running around that White House that Reince Priebus put in that don't like this president, don't like his agenda, work for him, don't like anything that's going on. And so here they took an opportunity to basically take out or attempt to take out a pro-Trump staffer. And you got to understand, Jonathan, Kelly Sadler has got huge support from the surrogate base that she deals with. I mean, she evokes a lot of loyalty because of the great work she's done and the way that people depend on her and for her integrity and honesty. So you look at this and you say, why would you get out of a meeting and then call your contact at the Hill and leak this in order to basically try to destroy somebody's career off the cuff comment? That's a tough one for a lot of us to take, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the motives of
right.
why it might have gotten back to us. I mean, obviously it also could have just the remark have angered, some of the people who heard it and felt bad about McCain. So I don't really want to get too much into why it might have gotten out there, but like you said, this has been an ongoing problem for the White House from the early days. When you mentioned the RNC people and the purge that happened there, I mean that was when it was at its worst. When
That's right.
Priebus was chief of staff, and there were the RNC section, and there was the sort of the campaign people and the Bannonites and all that. I mean, it's just been.
I know
since day one. It's just been backstabbing and leaking like that, and apparently it's not over.
Jonathan, we're out of time. Great segment. I really appreciate you coming on in short notice and your great reporting and clearing that up, because CNN was saying earlier that this was done on a conference call, and I just heard that when I had him on, and I'm like, well, that's not what Jonathan said, so let's get it cleared up. Jonathan did that. Jonathan, keep up the super work, man. Really appreciate it. Tell your bosses at the Hill.
You too, John.
Tell your bosses at the Hill publication that they're indispensable for many of us. Thank you.
You can bet I will. Thanks for having me on.